Good morning, everybody, and welcome, and thank you for having me this morning here. I'm already took a lot from Catherine's presentation, and what Fred talked about brand. I can totally agree with everything you guys talked about, and I'm really honored to be here and talk about what I think about what I think about brand, and give you a little insight into what brand means to Specialized, and hopefully I can be a little bit of an inspiration to you guys here. But I think you're on a good path already. I mean, what I saw this morning is all the right things are in place, and you have a great team and great accomplishments I heard this morning in Catherine's presentation. So let's dive into it. And this was a presentation Brian saw and felt like this is perfect for this morning here. And we have bikes outside. You can check out more bikes from Specialized later on. And I'm happy to answer any questions after the presentation. So Specialized, a little bit about Specialized. We're in the Bay Area. Our headquarters is in Morgan Hill, a little further down south. We were founded in 1974 by Mike Senior. He's still the current CEO, and he's very much involved in everything we do at Specialized, and very much involved of making sure that we do the right things. Since then, I think we have a lot of things brought to the sport of cycling. One of the first things we did in 81, we had the first commercially available mountain bike, and that was the Stump Jumper. So after all these custom builds, after all the hand-built bikes, Mike had the idea of bringing it to more people and getting more people on mountain bikes, and the Stump Jumper was the first mountain bike commercially available for everybody. We're in 29 countries, so we have subsidiaries in 29 countries, and a few more that we have distributors in. So pretty global bicycle brand, and one of the 3-4 big ones that you can see around the world. Let's dive into the actual presentation. Brand authenticity and why you should care. I heard it this morning already, how important it is to build a brand. I just want to take a little bit more time to talk about authenticity, which is to me key for building a brand. And I would like to start with a pretty powerful statement and quote, why I feel it shows how important a brand is. And it says, a brand is the most valuable real estate in the world. It's the corner of someone's mind. And this is really why it is so important. And when you talked about touching on people's emotions, that's where you would touch people. And when you when you do the right thing, when you have a brand that people love, then you are in somebody's mind, and you're up there, and it's something that somebody can hardly take away again, I would say. And when I saw this quote, I immediately thought about two other things that came to mind when you think about, when you compare brand and real estate in a way. The first one was the story of the 3 little pigs. And what's important there is there was just one pig that built a solid foundation. Really, that was not the wolf was not able to, with a little bit of huffing and puffing, to blow it away, because there was a solid foundation. And I think if you think about brand, it's really important to build a brand that has a solid foundation, is built strong, so there's not somebody just coming along and just with a little bit of huffing and puffing is just blow your brand away again. And the second one is you see there is kind of a set, like a film set, and it's just a nice facade. And I think in terms of brand, to build a brand, you need to do more than just building a nice facade, to not just something on a quickly done something on the outside, to just have a nice outside facing visual. It's about building a complete house. It's about building a house with 4 walls and building everything in the inside as well as on the outside to be like a full built house. It's not just of presenting the outside world, just a nice facade. And this is then something where you really, people can see it and they see that you take it seriously. And why it is important to why I want to talk about authenticity is, I think, and we talked about this, I heard this morning, also is trust. Because to me, authenticity is leading up to trust. And trust is something that people really are looking for these days. Not just in brands, but also in when I think about products, when I think about brands. It's something where they really want to have trust in things. And it's so noisy out there. There's so much going on. You get bombarded with so many messages. Everybody wants to offer you something. I think it's nice if you can just, like, without doing all the research and start from scratch, if you can just, like, trust a few things in your life and just know that it's going to be good, and not start all over again every time you have to, like, research and do it all from the start again. So authenticity, in my opinion, is something that leads to trust, and trust is really important in these days when it's so noisy out there. Before I go into, like, how to build a more authentic brand, we just want to touch on a few things that I call newer reality in this presentation. I call it newer because it's not brand new. So, but just to remind everybody about, like, do a little reality check here on a few things that make it even more important to be an authentic brand and what's the current state out there. One is the empowered consumer, and really understanding as a brand that you're not only anymore just the only one who's in charge of your brand. There's, like, an empowered consumer, and he's in the driver's seat. So taking a look at your products from the other side instead of just from the producer on the one side, and just, like, going through your production cycle and just not even, like, taking a look at what the consumer actually wants and what the needs are you're gonna fail. And so acknowledging that there's an empowered consumer and that he has, after, like, you've done everything and you didn't listen to him, if you just, like, put a product out there that he doesn't want, he can just make it pretty clear to a large group of people that this was a big fail, and you can fail as a brand, you can fail as a company. Empowered consumers are out there. And in addition to this, the internet went from search to find. In my opinion, this is something where in the beginning it was just like a nice tool, and you can use it as an addition to your, whatever you were working on or whatever. You used it as a nice addition to something. Now, when it went from search to find, it becomes actually like a useful tool. It becomes something that gives you solutions, and it's not just a nice addition to your tool set. It's actually, it delivers solutions. And with this, I mean, in this room, I don't have to talk about this so much, but there's a whole new digital infrastructure which delivers a lot more powerful tools, and you're right in there. And for us as a company, to us, this new digital infrastructure is a whole new set of a competition. Like, besides all these other brands that are out there that were like competition to us before, now we have a whole new set of competition. And it's all in these areas of availability, resources and funding, production, distribution, talent, and there's probably even more. But this is where I see, like, the digital infrastructure really being a new competition in this world and to us. Another piece to the current reality is people talk about your brand with or without you, and you can be part of it or you don't, but there's no way to opt out of it. Like, you can't say, like, I don't want to have you talk about my brand. It's just, it's happening, and you can only be, like, you can accept you don't want to be part of it, or you are part of it. It happens 24/7, and there is a lot of examples where people were not, aware of this or didn't recognize this enough as brands, and it hit them badly. So just to be aware of this as a brand is really important, and that's part of the current reality. Another one, and that's more something that it's one example just, but it's it went from made in China to made for China, and that's more. I don't know how you feel in your business, but for me, and what we do, before it was like you were going to China to make something, mass produce it, and just make it for, like, less expensive, and get it done in a quick way. Now it's actually the opposite. We're now making things for China and specifically for this market, because there's a change of behavior in a time when everything is available at any time. that people are looking for the true stuff, the original stuff, the real deal, instead of just bragging about that this was done in is another knockoff, and it was done just in 6 weeks later than the original stuff came out. And China was actually their biggest. They were their biggest themselves. They bought most of the knockoff stuff, so they were proud of this. But now it has changed, especially for us in the cycling world. We're actually making stuff for them. Another reality. We're now in the innovation economy. That's what I would call it, and it's much more about knowledge, technology, innovation that are really the drivers for sustainable growth. So it's much more important what you deliver in knowledge and innovation in your products than just putting another piece of stuff out there and don't have any reason for it or don't deliver on the substance of it. And this to me is the term of innovation economy, and we need to be aware of this as a current reality. Let's go into the 5 important steps to me that I think are the ones that how you can build a more authentic brand. So the first one is you have to define your brand or others will do it for you. It goes back to the 24/7 kind of talk that happens online, for example. It's like if you don't take charge of your brand and you define who you are, somebody else will do it for you. And you might be not happy with the way how they see you. So it's probably better to lead and define what you're all about. The second piece to it is you have to believe in what you're doing and to create an authentic culture. And we heard this before in Fred's talk, but it's really important to have a culture that is authentic, and you have to believe in it. I think believe is a big point here. It's not a 9-to-5 job. If you believe in something, it means more than just going to work and have a job. And you have to believe in it, and everybody who's in the company, everybody is part of it. Everybody has to believe in it. And only if you believe, others can follow. And this is important from creating an environment, creating something where there's a culture, is something you create an environment that you foster talent. And it's important to foster this talent. And it can only happen if you believe in it. Then you can create followers that believe like you in it. And that's, to me, one of the big 5 steps. And here, number 3. 4, make friends, not customers. I call it that way. But in many cases, and I speak again more from my perspective, but some shops, they see it just more they were happy to do just a purchase, and it's a transaction, and they were happy to make this deal, and then hopefully the customer is out pretty quickly after it, and then hopefully I don't see him again, and hopefully he doesn't come back for service or anything. And this is not the way moving forward. I think it's important to understand that when you're a brand and you want to be authentic, on the outside you're creating you're creating more of a friend base, you're creating more relationships. We're in a relationship business. We need to see it as the first point of contact, the purchase, but it's more of starting a relationship with your customer. And number 5 is define your why. And again, it's so great to, got set up by Fred and Brian's talk, but it's it really, what's your DNA? And you have to really look deep into what is actually the thing why was this brand built? Why is it there? Why does it have a purpose? And this is your DNA. You have to you have to look back and see what your why is and analyze it, define it, and then most importantly, and that speaks to consistency, you have to stick to it. It's something that can't be changed. It's something that's very fundamental. And this is what a brand, an authentic brand, is built on, is the why of the company and why it exists. And in our case, what did I do? Wrong button. This one is our brand book, and we have this, this little passport book that is kind of like our inspiration and the real driver behind our brand, which defines who we are as a company and what's our why. It doesn't give you the playbook, but it's definitely first step towards every employee gets this in the beginning when somebody starts there, and it defines the vision, the mission of the company, and so that everybody when he starts or she works for Specialized understands why we're there and why we exist. And I think it's pretty important. I think it's also important that it's actually printed. I would say this is important that you have it as a tangible product. And so it's nice to have this printed and always around you when you're working for Specialized. So that's our brand book. I think it's really important. For being an authentic brand, I think you need to be original, and it's about being you, not them. It's really something where you can only be an authentic brand if you have your unique point of view, if you're not like a me too, if you're not something that somebody else already delivers on. You have to be original, and you have to think it through, and that's probably what's written in the brand book, in your why you exist as a brand. After you've defined your why, it's then important to define your playground. So really setting the parameters for where you play in. And we call it at Specialized our way. And you create with this like an unlimited success pattern. It doesn't matter if it's like an event that we create. It doesn't matter if we like how we do products. It's like we created our way in different areas, how we do things. And this defines our playground, because I've seen it, and I've worked before in like an agency world. I've seen many different industries, many different executives that work for different companies. So I've seen a lot more than just the cycling world, and a lot of brands just trying to be too many things to too many people. And this is not gonna work. If you want to be an authentic brand, you can't be too many things to too many people. So it's really important to define your playground. But then you have to ask the question, what is that you're actually selling? And I truly believe like it always starts with the product, and product is king. But what is actually your product? Is it the software product that you're creating, or is it something bigger? I can't speak for your business so much, but it's really important to us to answer this question. I think product is totally king, no matter in what industry you're in. But what is actually that you're selling? And I can speak for, again, like the business that I'm currently in. And maybe it's like 5-10 years ago, we talked about the bike business. And now it has changed to be like cycling. And cycling means much more than just the physical product. It means much more than just the bike. And it's a much more holistic approach. It's about the entire experience of being on a bike, riding, and giving people the experience of how it feels when you're on a bike. So it's not just like selling stuff. It's not just about selling, the hard goods. It's about selling the entire experience. So this, for example, is something that has changed in our industry, and you need to understand for being an authentic brand that you're selling much more than just the physical product. Something important when you start thinking about your brand as like you're trying to be authentic, you're in this certain business. It's a line. If you can't change the rules, change the game. Some people think that there's some parameters to my industry and I can't get out of this box. I think it's important to understand you're in charge of your brand. You can define who you want to be, and it's not defined by the industry you're in. If you don't see that you fit in a certain industry, just go outside of this industry or go outside of the parameters that somebody made up for the industry and just change the game instead of like being defined by some of the rules. And for us, we work that way since the beginning. And to us, this is like our mantra is innovate or die. And this applies to everything we do. And it applies to how we design products again, or how we do marketing. It always should drive everything we do. And the brand is much more than just our, again, physical products. Innovate or die is a key component to our brand and how we do business. Just 3 little examples here where innovate or die shows through. This is a wind tunnel, and this is in Morgan Hill. And we built this wind tunnel in less than 18 months. It was an idea for like 4 years, and aerodynamics is highly important on when you're riding a bike, and it's not just important for the high-profile athlete. It's important for anybody who steps on a bike, and as soon as you pedal, you feel it. So it doesn't mean like it's important for somebody who goes very fast. It's for everybody. So we made aerodynamics a priority for us and for the entire line. we couldn't find any place where we had like a wind tunnel built for cycling, because most of these are built for airplanes or cars, and it's a very different, different product. And in our case, the person on the bike is much more important than the actual physical bike, if you talk about aerodynamics. So we built our own wind tunnel, and so far I think we opened in May. We have seen, I think we have like 1,200 hours already tested in this, and before it was like 600 hours a year in some other facilities that we had to rent, we had to drive or fly to, we had to schedule something. Here, this is across the street, so when we have an idea, we can just go over across the street, we can test, and we can go back and rapid prototyping, and we can just like go back and forth between it, so it's much faster. And we have a lot of our athletes coming to the tunnel and improve their performance. And other people, like a downhill skier was just there. So that's pretty cool. But it shows that when we can't find it, we just make it ourselves. And actually like 40 people from the company just dedicated personal time to help build this wind tunnel. So that's, I think, how it goes beyond the just 9-to-5 job. We're crazy about bikes, and when it's about building a wind tunnel, people just go in and just help building it. So that's pretty cool. I also like in charge of marketing, and this is another way where we had a tour, like It's My Tour was a campaign around the Tour de France in the summer, and we did it for the second year now. And this was, we decided to go much more digital and go through Twitter with like announcing this and running this campaign. Twitter is now using this campaign as one of their cases to go out to other businesses, because it has the biggest engagement rate in sports that they have seen in their, like, since they started. And they ask us now if they can use it as a business case. So we're pretty proud of this, because usually we just like, we're in this bicycling world and we don't like outside of it. And to have a case and to see the success of a campaign like this is pretty cool for us to see. And so using Twitter as our way to go out and send out our message and work closely with them together to have a strong campaign, this to me is like showing innovate or die in a marketing way. On a product side, we went outside of our own brand. We partnered up with McLaren, and you can see this bike actually outside, and it's the bike of one of our. It's one of our, like, Robert Eggers, our creative director. You're going to see him later. It's his bike that you see outside, but we partnered, and we partner now with them for like over 3 years. And it's a constant exchange in working with them on R&D and developing product. Here you see one of the products, which is, we had already the platform of the Specialized Venge. This is this kind of road bike. But we went out and went to McLaren, and we together as a team were able to make it even faster and lighter through their technology. So it's something where you go outside and just say like, okay, this is what we can reach as us as a company. Let's go outside our company and team up with somebody, and you can get something great out of it and be even more innovative here. I talked about the stump jumper, which was like built in '81 and I think sold in '82 on the left side. So this is the history, this is the beginning, one of the examples. And then on the right, you see the turbo bike, which is our version of an e-bike that was launched in 2012 in Europe, and it was launched this summer in the US. And this, to me, feels more like a Tesla on two wheels. It's more roadster feeling. It's different than what you see usually as an e-bike out there. I mean, you see much more in Europe, but these bikes are usually like to get like, people who are not anymore on a bike, like 65 and older, to get back on a bike. In this case, this one is really made for people who like to ride, and a lot of our employees take this out for like their commute ride, or take this out for a spin. It's just a different way of riding. I've never seen anybody get off this bike without a smile, and we have 3 bikes out there. If after we're done here and we have not many questions and we're still good with lunch, we can have a test ride outside in the parking lot. I guarantee you don't come off this bike without a smile. So that's pretty cool. I've talked about this with McLaren, and it's just one of them, but having these partnerships with other companies and really going beyond what you can do on your own and have like intersectional innovation happening is something that's really important to us, and I think it's important to be authentic. It's not just about like coming up with your own stuff and just with what you can do as Specialized. For people out there and the consumer, they don't see just us, they see it as like part of their experience at being on a bike. And to go out there and see who other like companies that have same way of thinking and see what we can do together is a way to be even more authentic. I think partnerships is a key component to it. And we're lucky to be in the Silicon Valley, and I said this in this brand summit meeting and this other time when I presented this. To me, is far more than location. It's a mindset, and to get this into your company, to become more authentic is really important. To have the same mindset that most of the Silicon Valley companies have, and that's to me is create and add real value, to people's lives, and make them like live better. And that's our mission, to really create and add value, and not just like, again, throw out some products and hope that somebody's going to buy it. So as an authentic brand, you need to be purpose-driven. And again, as Specialized, we want to get more people on bikes, and we believe that riding can transform lives and can change the world. I think if you change each one by one, at some point you're going to change the world, and we truly believe if you get more people on bikes, it's going to change the world. This is our purpose. And we see it every day, getting letters in. We see it in our company, people who work at Specialized, how it has changed their lives. And if we talk to a lot of people, how much have they get from riding a bike, and how much they gain from it is really key and really encouraging to see. So it's a true belief of Specialized and everybody who works at Specialized. For any other company, I think it's about like asking the question, does your brand have a unique point of view? I think it's important to be original. It's important to be authentic. It's important to have your own purpose, why you exist, why are you there, and what can you deliver to add value to somebody's life, and not be a me too to somebody else. In our case, we call this I Am Specialized, and we get there through storytelling and building a community. These are like key phrases or key components to it. We need to be connected to the people out there. We need to be open-minded. We need to be very inclusive and inviting, and we need to be very personal and inspiring. And all of this is to us, when we say I am Specialized, this is all like in this saying. And you can see it when you go to Specialized, that at Specialized is the only brand that is built by riders for riders. Everybody at Specialized rides bikes. I mean, it's a crazy place of people just like being like, believing in the power of a bicycle, and just happen to be working at the same place and trying to push, cycling. And everybody is in some form a rider. It doesn't mean like everybody is a racer, but truly everybody is a rider. If it's commute to work, or if it's going up or shredding down the hills on a trail. And I just brought you a little video because I talked already too long, I think. But there's something very important to our culture at Specialized, and that's like noon. We're hitting it closely here. But noon every day is something where something very special happens at our company.
It happens every day at 12 o'clock. Doesn't matter if it's raining, snowing, sleeting, earthquakes, tidal waves. It happens every day. Company shuts down and people go out and ride their bikes.
I don't know when it started. Seems like it's always been there, but it is legendary.
The Friday ride is definitely the World Championships. That's the hammer day. Everybody's out to win and go fast. It's
really fast. It's really a fast ride. And even sometimes when the pros come, they think, I'm just relaxing today. They go on that ride and they're like...
Just a few weeks ago, we had Alberto Contador do our lunch ride, so I took it easy on him and let him win. I don't want to brag too much, but I feel like I'm the lunch ride king. I've been with the company almost 25 years, so I've won the lunch ride over 1,500 times. Now there's a lot of younger, faster riders, so I have to cheat a lot more.
I'm never able to win that ride. Well, you know what? One time on my birthday, they let me win. It was kind of pathetic.
You want to go longer before you get dropped, because getting dropped is kind of an inevitability, but you just want to challenge yourself and go as far as you can and then wave goodbye and ride by yourself for a while.
People know this one because it's the most visible, but there's a lot of other rides at lunch. Most of the time I go out with other groups and just kind of ride and talk.
Yeah, we're not so concerned with the lunch ride.
You guys don't do it? No.
Well, that's the funny part is I'm the only one that does it. I just do it to hold it down for the mountain bike team.
I don't want to say you're almost outcasted if you don't go ride, but if you don't do something at lunch, if you don't get out of your desk for that hour, it's like everybody kind of collectively pushes you out the door to do something.
But you know what? Hey, it's not just who's the fastest, right? There's something about going out and riding, you know, that really recharges yourself.
It's a complete split up in the day, keeps you focused, you're thinking more clearly, you're thinking about the bike. Lunch ride's crucial.
I think it's totally unique. It's something that we've been doing forever. It's just a fun way to really mix up the day and be who we are, which is a bunch of cyclists.
Yeah. Yeah, it just shows how we live the culture, and it's something that's alive, and it's not just something written in like a brand book and then gets not like really executed in a way. And yeah, this happens every day. It's not about like being the fastest. I think that's important, but people have fun riding. And on Fridays, this is the World Championships. That's actually a race. I'm not able to compete in this race. I'm much more happy to enjoy like a smaller group and ride with these guys, but it's fun and it really breaks up the day, so that's really cool. So what this shows to me is like your company is greater than the sum of its products, and that makes to me the difference between just being being an authentic brand or just being another company. It's really that defines to me like what it means to be a brand, like a real true brand, or just being another company like everybody else. You know, you're bigger than just the sum of your products. And maybe product people don't like to hear this, but it's not about your offer, it's about the idea behind the offer. So in my opinion, design and quality in these days is expected. It's something, and we also, I guess, specialized, we still have, you know, we always still have to work on design and quality to deliver on this. But it's not something that we can only focus on because that's expected from people in these days. And if you don't deliver there, you're out. So this is expected, but it really is valued as a brand, as idea, innovation, and the mindset behind these products. So that's really key, that we understand that it's not just about the offer itself, it's about the idea behind the offer. And you need to stay relevant as a brand. And to me, this is like, as I said in the beginning, it starts with creating a culture that's authentic, that fosters like the right talent and the people. It gives them a home where they can grow. And innovation and design is so key, that these are the components to staying relevant for a long time and having sustainable growth. And then you're able to deliver something that you can give people what they want, you give them what they dream of. And I think that's the difference. You don't want to go into focus groups and just recreate what they told you in focus groups. It's about like taking their input, or when you do observation, it's taking what they're telling you to do and then taking it step higher, because you're able to translate this into something that they haven't even thought of. And this is important to stay relevant. And then I want to close this with this statement here. It's very important. People will never forget how you made them feel. This is exactly when we talk about emotions. If you hit on emotions, if you make them feel about your brand, this is something I will never forget. And this is how you make a connection to people that goes far beyond just delivering products. And just to close it out with a little video we did in 2012 around the tour that resonated with a lot of people, and I think delivers on this sentence.
It's going to be a big day. It's going to be a monumental day. She wants to do something special.
And there is the chase. It's not a done deal just yet.
It's all a question of survival now.
And Tom Bowman has stopped him before and may be doing it again. He's racing to win.
He is riding like a man possessed. He's taken the race by the horns here this afternoon, writing his name into the history books with a performance like this.
Yeah, I think that's really bringing back to people who have written as a kid, bringing back the fun, what it means to be on a bike, and get it back to them in their hearts and in their emotions. So thank you very much, and happy holidays to everybody here.